Hey, what is up, everybody? I know, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm in Mekcee time, but as soon as I get upstairs, I'm probably going to get my butt beat for comments after this. But hey, what is up, everybody? I'll go through and say what is up to everybody. Thanks for joining me, guys. We got some crazy things to go over and talk about, don't we? Ooh, with this Brian Laundrie stuff, right? Hey, what's up, Rome? Hey, what's up, Leisha? Hey, MJ. Hey, Miss Mekcee. Miss Mekcee. Hey, Blue Willow. Stacy. Anna, what's up, Anna Brown? Try to go through. Sorry. Alicia. Roman, what's up, brother? Roman, what's up, Joy? Mary O'Connor. Stacy. Did I say Stacy already? I don't know. Maybe I did. But if not, what's up, Stacy? Again. Miss anybody? Veronica. Hey, Veronica. Hey, Stacy Meadows. Hey, Maria. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Laura. Hey, Mandy. So what's up, everybody? God, yeah. So it's pretty crazy. We're gonna turn on the feed here in a little bit for kind of the updates, so we can get like kind of a clue as to what's going on. I've been trying to get down here so I could do the live real quick. So I've been running real fast. So uh, trying to get everything set up. But there's several things that are going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. If in fact Brian Laundrie is dead, that will be yet another confirmation from the spirit box. And we did the session a while back ago. This will be yet again another confirmation of what was told to us. And I'm going to show you guys a video here in a little bit. We're missing a piece of it because we tried to get it together so quick, but we got decent parts of it. If this is actually true, that would mean that the Gabby Petito spirit box that we did and we conducted, it said very specific things as to her being strangled prior to the autopsy report. We conducted a spirit box session on the 21st, September 21st, and October 2nd. And the actual autopsy report wasn't released until October 12th, at which point we came up, we asked about the autopsy. How did it happen? What happened to Gabby? It confirmed strangle. It said strangle. It also said choked at one point, and then it also said that it was done with Brian's bare hands, which was also on the video that he said that they had confirmed that it was done not with an object, but rather with hands. So crazy stuff, obviously that is coming up in a spirit box that's very accurate. 21 days prior to the actual release of the autopsy, and then October 2nd, which was another 10 days prior to it. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Burgermeister. Makes the brain kill himself. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. It's starting to look that way. It's starting to look like they found human remains. So I don't want to obviously assume anything, but to me, it's starting to look in that direction where human remains were found. Brian's stuff was found over there too, as well. What's very interesting to me is that they've been quiet. Now, if you remember in the other instance where they had found human remains or the body, they came out right away. They came out immediately and they were like, hey, look, everybody don't go into a panic. This is not Brian. This time, they're keeping quiet about it. We haven't heard anything for a little bit. They confirmed that he was in the area. Hey, Rachel. They confirmed that he was in the area. They confirmed that they found some stuff of his, and now that the human remains. And so this kind of all ties together, and now they're getting quiet. Why? Well, if, in my opinion, if that was the true case, that this is Brian and that he was found deceased or dead, it would make sense as to why they're being quiet. You'd have to be very sure that it is. You'd have to confirm. Um, hey, Eagles 48. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Sandra. So you would have to confirm. You would have to then confirm it because, right? Would you want to go on public for somebody who's the most haunted man right now, and then all of a sudden go live and be like, "Hey, this is this is the remains of him," and then it turned out to be not him. God, what a folly that would be. You'd be in a heap of trouble if you did that. So I think that's why they're taking their time to try to do it. I don't know. That's just my assumption. I could be wrong. Could be right. But With that, I wanted to take a look, guys, so I could show you some of the spirit box sessions that we conducted, just little clips, and then we're going to jump into live and then hear what they're saying in the moment that it's happening right now. What's up, Cotton Candy? So I'm going to share these with you. Okay. All right, give me just a second, guys. Sorry. I picked the wrong one. I'm going to have to set it up again, but I picked the wrong one. Okay, we're going to try this again. Sure. Okay, first one we're going to go over is going to be this one. Oh, no. It doesn't have a video track. Oh, no. These are done in a different way. Gosh dang it. These are annoying. Okay, so I might have to share my entire screen. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I forgot that stupid iMovie does it in a different way. So. These are the Spirit Box sessions which we conducted for Gabby Petito. One was held on October 2nd of 2021 and one on September 21st of 2021. The official autopsy wasn't released until October 12th, 2021. Did Brian use a weapon to kill Gabby? Did Brian use a weapon to kill Gabby?
Wyoming coroner Dr. Brent Blue, who determined the cause of death due to manual strangulation, throttling. What does that exactly mean?
Throttling just means done without an instrument or done with hands to choke someone. There are indications this was a domestic violence.
He killed Gabby. Brian. It just said Brian. He killed her by murder, but how? What are we going to find on the autopsy report for Gabby? Hurt, I think bomb hurt. The autopsy report for Gabby. Is there anything Gabby wants to say to her parents? Is there anything Gabby wants to say to her friends? Both of these spirit box sessions were captured prior to the autopsy release, which was October 12th, which is very shocking because it came up with the exact details of what happened to Gabby Petito. These sessions are all conducted live on YouTube, so it gives both the timestamp and it happens in real time live so that everybody can see what's happening and when it happened. So that was, I'm gonna stop screen share for a second there. Come on. That was the first one. That was one that was crazy and shocking because if you think about it, just think about that for a second. It came up with all those words prior to the autopsy, prior to anybody even knowing what exactly happened. And it's so crazy. If you just think about the actual, it's just so shocking to me that it can come up. But you know, that's one of these things, like when we're talking about, you know, spirit box sessions or other things, this goes into the spirit realm of the world that we don't know. We just, there's things that we ourselves do not know. But you guys know my beliefs in it. I don't necessarily believe I'm talking to the actual person himself, but rather a spirit or a demon that that knows, you know, the events that happen in the spirit realm. You know, things, they know different things that we don't know, and and it's crazy. It just gives you like a little taste of it and shows you like how real it is. But with these one guys, I want to be sure to warn and tell you, like, be careful of what you're doing, because I know a lot of people think that they're either going to contact with the a loved one that they may have passed or something, but you just don't know what you're getting into, and it's taken a toll on me. And my team will attest to this. My wife will attest to this. It takes a toll on me when I go and I do these investigations. When I go and I do these spirit box sessions, there is some very dark, scary things out there that come up. I get in trances. I get sick. I get lost. I can't even describe to you all the different things. It takes a toll on me mentally, my body, physically, and it's not good. So anybody who's thinking out there, "Oh, I can do this, I'm going to do it," please, 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 unless you you really like know exactly what you're stepping into and know how to protect yourself from this, please, for the love of God, please, please, please do not attempt to try to do these things. Everybody thinks that it's a good idea until you start doing it, and then you get an attachment, and you get demon oppression, or you get demon possession, and then it turns into a whole nother different ball game, and it's bad. It's very, very bad. Um, but with that, guys, you guys see how spot on and accurate these spirit box sessions have been. With that, that's just right there is mind blowing. And if this happens at Brian Laundrie happens to actually end up being dead, then this next clip that I'm going to show you plays true as well. I'm going to show you guys this one. We conducted this one a while back ago.
Is Brian still alive? You say no. Find Brian. Dead. I think it said dead. Did you say Brian's dead?
That's what it sounded like.
Yes? I think it just said yes too. Knows where Brian is at. Where can we find him? Brian's parents know what happened. Yes. He said yes.
So as you guys can see, and that wasn't the only one too. We didn't have time to go through and find everything. So thanks, MJ, for putting that together so quickly. That's awesome. MJ rocks those out. But there's another part where we ask about his body. We ask about Brian's body. We're like, hey, what about Brian's body? Where is he? In Florida. And right now where they're at is in Florida, is talking about Brian being in hell. Brian's body was in Florida. The parents knew something about it. And that Brian was dead for the confirmation. So if this plays out and we find out that this is Brian, this again shows how accurate and spot on that these spirit box sessions have been. And it's very, very crazy, very, very intense, and very, very crazy. Yeah, wasn't water mentioned. There was water mentioned. There was a lot of different things mentioned. Like I said, we didn't have Saints Rocktail. We didn't have a lot of time to go over this because since this happened so fast, I literally got out of work and I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, I gotta go live. I gotta talk about this Brian Laundrie because we have to put this on record and show like, hey, if we get this before confirmation, we had already got this confirmation in the spirit boxes that about Brian being dead and in hell or in his own hell. And, so along with the Gabby Petito things that you guys saw in the Spirit Box sessions of how crazy and how accurate that has been. Have I done any summary wells? Yes, I have, Mama. I have done, and there was very specific things that came through on Summer Wells too as well. I was supposed to revisit Summer and supposed to revisit Brian, but I've been waiting to see what happened with Brian because I just had a feeling something about Brian. I can't explain it, but sometimes I don't do things strictly because I have a certain feeling about something. I'm like, I don't want to do it because I talked about doing a session again last week on Brian. And I was thinking about doing it even earlier in this week or even last week, talking about doing another session to try to locate where Brian was. I think I even did a poll. Which one would you guys rather see first? Would you guys rather see Brian Laundrie first, or would you guys rather see Summer Wells? And most of you guys ended up saying Brian. Well, lo and behold, I felt like this thing. I'm like, well, I know a lot of people want me to do the Brian Spirit Box session. However, I just have this feeling, and sometimes I get those feelings. So, yeah, everyone wants to know the why. Everyone wants to know why, and that's what it comes down to too. It's sad for the family, because for Gabby Petito's family, because if this is true, if this reigns true right now, if it's true that Brian is dead, and what if he didn't leave a note or any other thing to explain why or the reasons that happened or whatever the case may be? Damn it. Could you imagine the sheer frustration of the parents? I mean, we could argue back and forth. Oh, well, there's no justice served for Gabby. But for those that believe in the afterlife or heaven and hell, that's hard to say. Is justice really not being served? I know maybe not here, but maybe over there, which would be a far, far worse punishment. But the fact that remains still is that the parents won't fully get closure. If he didn't leave anything, if he didn't leave any indication, and if he is really dead, then I feel terrible for the parents because they may never know what happened or what went down. And to sit there with that in the back of your mind playing over and over would be a torture in itself. Hey, Lynn, welcome to the family. Lynn Shepard, welcome to the family. Good to have you. So let's jump, since we got a lot of things going on, let's jump over to some of the coverage on this thing and see what they're saying now. See if there's anything that's came up since we've been here. Come on.
Had a direct connection to Gabby Petito's death, which I think a lot of people automatically, or there's nothing that you're going to tell to people that tells them otherwise. But if you go beyond that for a second, that we don't have any idea whether or not Brian Laundrie told his parents what had happened on the road, right? Or if he did, whether he wasn't telling the truth and wasn't being honest.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you. Thank you for that.
So there's been all of this vitriol for Chris and Roberta Laundrie. But it all circles back to, why wouldn't Chris and Roberta take a phone call from Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mom and dad? Why aren't you answering the phone? If Chris and Roberta Laundrie were here right now, that's probably the first thing I would ask them. Again, just semantics-based question. Of course, they're dealing with an extremely trying time here today, as we're about to learn in an hour from now what these partial remains are that have been found at the Carlton Reserve. But if we were talking about just semantics of the case, I would say, what was there a reason why you didn't? What was the exact reason why you were not taking the Petito Schmidt phone calls at that time when they were just trying to desperately find their daughter, as any mom and dad would?
It's a great point. It's a question we may never know the answer to. Do they actually ever come forward and tell us? They've been obviously, stressful situation for them to be in, obviously beyond stressful. They know Gabby, they know Brian, they may know what happened. But that the camping trip to me is less of a mystery only because I know how popular that campground is.
But why go camping? But why go camping if there was something terrible that occurred?
That's what I was
Brian
saying. I
Laundrie.
said that a few times.
Right. Well, right.
If you're Brian,
right,
you're going camping and eating s'mores. And
not only Brian, but the family too. They don't question where Gabby's at. Where's Gabby? She's with you all the time.
And
we've done that,
right? And realize that not everybody has the same conscience and that.
And we were talking yesterday, Walt, and I wish that you had been part of our stream yesterday. I was talking with Josh Benson about how in some cases of extremely, in the minds of a person, and again, we're speaking in generalities here. We're not speaking about Brian Laundrie, but in the minds of somebody that commit an extremely violent crime, that some minds will automatically revert to straight denial and
Absolutely.
will create and fabricate
Absolutely.
a reality within their mind that they did not occur such a heinous act, or did they not commit such a heinous act.
Well, I get the question a lot from various stories we cover.
I think he was just a coward. I think in his mind he knew exactly what he was doing. He had enough of a drive to go back home, right? You don't have enough time to think about it the whole ride.
Anything that Brian did other than allegedly use Gabby Petito's credit card. We don't know anything else, and sadly, we may never know. We will only be able to suspect. There will never, this case, if this is Brian Laundrie's remains, will never be tried. And the information, we may have to pry it out of the FBI. We don't know. But again, people who commit crimes, people who commit strangulations, whoever did it, that is a personal crime where you are staring at the victim and you are doing that for what amounts to 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes, and it's horrifying to imagine.
That looks like Molly. Isn't that Molly?
And
Shout out to Molly too. You've been doing your thing.
Anybody, whoever it was, being capable.
Molly's been doing her thing. Shout out to Molly.
Thankfully, it's not people.
That looks like Molly. Did that not look like Molly, guys? Confirm that.
Feel guilt. You don't know. We don't know. So maybe the parents didn't know. If the parents knew and still went out for s'mores, now we've got a whole nother problem. But at that point, the date of the camping trip was the 6th or 16th?
6th to the 7th, yeah.
6th to the 7th.
Get him, Molly. Get him.
Not a missing person yet, but we suspect at that point the Laundries had already received phone calls from the Petitos and the Schmitz at that point, asking, where is Gabby? Do we believe that at that point? Or had that not happened yet?
Say that again?
Do we believe on the 6th that around that time frame, Brian comes home on the 1st? Do we believe between the time of the 1st and the camping trip, 5 days later, do we know from the Petitos and the Schmitz that they received phone calls that they called the Petitos?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, they had already called and not gotten any answers.
They were calling, texting, trying everything that they could to get an answer.
Troubling. Extremely troubling, obviously.
Yeah, I know. Shout out to Molly for putting my name on that sign. I appreciate that, Molly.
It's not
Thank
logical. It doesn't make any sense.
For those of you just joining us, 4:30 Eastern Time, the FBI calling a press conference for 4:30 Eastern Time, and it's here at Myakkahatchee.
That's why I believe that it's him. I believe they found him.
Something. We don't know exactly what they are going to announce to the world, but they are going to give us an update on what has transpired here today. And I go back to what I had said previously. As far as constants in this case, I have always said that if there was one constant in this case, Walt, that it was to expect the unexpected. It seems as if at every turn throughout this story that there was just oddities that would occur. And that's one of the reasons why this story has just captured the attention of so many people around the world, is because there are so many moments throughout the timeline that just don't add up, that don't feel right, that are unexpected. And so with that one constant being a theme in this, or that theme being a constant in this case, I have no idea what we are going to learn at 4:30, but I know that
Molly
here on WFLA Now. Kennedy Joe, #KJD. So I'm late. Do we think that the remains are new or old? And first and foremost, just relatively speaking, you're just from a terminology standpoint, old is new, like 12 hours
Right.
new, or
We don't
3
know.
days new.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know how long they've been there. All those things, by the way, I don't suspect we'll know. We could very well know that that at 4:30, something along those lines. But if it's the FBI talking, it's going to be very basic. It's going to be 1 or 2 paragraphs at the most. And I don't think at this point they're not going to offer any speculation for how long the remains were there, because they more than likely do not know, unless there's a note, I guess. There's that.
It would
right?
take him some
There
time
could
to
be a
identify
note.
that, to
And we
figure out
know
how
that-
long
where
they've been.
We know exactly how long they've been there, but I'm going to
Where
say
the coroner comes in.
we're not going to know new or old for a while. We are going to have a suspicion of who it is. And the FBI, I'm sure if they're releasing it, they have more than a suspicion. I mean, obviously, did he have his wallet with him? We would think he did, right? Would you bring your wallet if you're in the woods?
Without
maybe?
any credit cards or debit cards in them, I mean, I would bring a wallet. But then again, that would just be to carry cash. And
how long have the remains been there? I mean, that's the other point, because now what does it look like? It's gruesome to imagine, but it's a really good question, but it's one of the ones we can't really answer right now.
Melissa Hoyt, #KJB, #KWalt. Do we know if this is an area that has been searched previously?
Great question.
Of course,
That's a
this
good
area
question.
has been searched, but I bring up Melissa's for a second to ask this question. And it's not a question that we can answer, but it's a question that is on my mind. Did they search this area in September when the water was considerable? And were they stepping right around this area at the time? Or were they within 10 feet, 100 feet of this spot? And they had no idea what they were actually on or near because of the water?
Yeah, could have been.
Right. We know they had the boats. We know they had the swamp boats, whatever you call them.
Dive teams. They
Dive
had
teams.
sonar in there.
It's interesting that it's water's involved, and they had dive teams, which makes you wonder: did they know something earlier about Brian that made them think to look in water? Although that area, didn't we hear from Allison Henning that the area? Did we hear from police that the area is 75% water? Now, keep in mind,
I think it was 75% water at the time.
Right, and that was a month ago, right?
When we had a very wet September. We did.
So, but again, 25,000 acres in Carlton Reserve, only 160 in this location. So, we know they did search this area, but we don't. You said this is on the Northport side, correct?
This is on the Northport side, yeah.
So think about this. They were there then the first day they searched, which was a Saturday.
Yep.
They were on the Northport side.
Yep.
And again, they said Carlton Reserve, but they are the two areas are connected. They're adjacent to each other. So was this the area they initially went to? We don't know that. But again, if it's underwater, you miss it, right? And I don't think dogs are as effective if something is in.
Yeah, if something's underwater,
submerged. We don't know
submerged.
how long he's been there. We don't know, or he or whoever that is. We don't know how long the remains have been there. So,
as we lose our camera shot here for just a moment, we'll show you some video from earlier, the tent video from earlier. Melissa, thanks a lot for your question, because it's a thought-provoking one.
Great question.
And it makes you just wonder, but this area isn't that far.
Yeah, sure, and it
from
did
the
say,
entrance,
we covered
and
that a little
isn't
bit ago. It
that
did say that he
far
was dead.
from where the Ford Mustang convertible was found, which, again, can't read too much into it, but it's
looking that way.
I'll say this. It is entirely possible that the remains have been there for some time. And again, I point out that Mother Nature had a significant role here.
Yeah.
The water's coming down to a point that where you're not stepping even in mud. It's very dry on the ground.
And some
there at
experts
the
even
Carlton
say
Reserve
that they
now
weren't
at
aware,
Wayakahatchee.
like they thought that he wouldn't be able to survive in that.
Exposes what was underneath the surface of the water out of view for the officers and the teams that were searching Wayakahatchee.
JB, do we know? I just got this question. It's a great question. My answer was, I hope so, and also we'd better. Do we know that we are going to have this news conference live? Do we have that capability? Do you know? I was going to ask our assignment desk, just since we're fluid here, because I think it's we would hope so, correct? Or is it out of Didnt? No, it's going to be there. It's going to be at this scene, correct?
It's at Wayakahatchee, and I would imagine that if they are doing a press conference for the press, they're going to do it in a spot that is available to the press. But it's worth noting, now we got time. It's 50 minutes away. There hasn't been a makeshift podium set up. There hasn't been an area where what media, or there is? Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was responding to somebody else. What you'll see is the media come together, even photographers with different networks and different media affiliates. And what they will do is somebody will provide a makeshift stand or podium, and
a light stand a lot of times.
Yep. And what that will do, yes, the duct tape is key. And what they will do,
are wrapped on duct tape.
Walt and I have been at these press conferences, and you'll see the media kind of come together because they want to. It's really actually just because they want to have the best mic placement. You know, when you'll see a press conference at an area like this, and you'll see it looks like there's 50 to 60 microphones all like piled onto one spot, and you're thinking, why don't they just use one microphone? It's because they don't have the technological capability to do one microphone. Right. It's all of these microphones together, and that area is likely being formed right now. But I'll tell you what, there's got to be a media liaison there at the scene to organize this press conference and say it's going to be had here.
The news release was written by the Florida contact to the FBI.
FBI Tampa, right?
Yeah, FBI Tampa. Keep in mind, the lead investigators here are the Denver office of the FBI. That's who we have been contacting for information leading up to these days, is the Denver office of the FBI. And that's where the tweet that said they had found items of interest in the Laundrie case, that came from the Denver FBI. And keep this in mind as well, the FBI has not confirmed anything about remains. That is from a source to NBC News and Pete Williams. So we don't know what we're going to get at 4:30. We can only sort of assume what we'll get. But again, as JB pointed out, it's been a crazy story with a lot of twists and turns. Very few items on that timeline. If we think back, just 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, I got to do the math. 6 weeks ago, we didn't.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to that. We'll get back into that here in a minute. But there were several things that I wanted to address, and so there were several things. One, they were talking about originally when they went camping. I don't know if you guys remember when they went camping and the family went camping. One of the points that I wanted to point out is, like, if that was there, why in the heck did the family not say, oh, hey, by the way, where's Gabby? I know she's all around you all the time. That's weird that she's not around you. And, some would argue with, oh, well, maybe he just made up an excuse or whatever. But wouldn't you suspect it as odd? You come back with the van that you and Gabby were supposed to be in, and you guys went on a trip, and then you come out there and Gabby's not around you. I don't know. That's weird. We're going to get back into it. That's one of the things I want to point out. The second one is, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say this flat out. I don't feel any pity whatsoever for those parents. I just don't. I don't feel pity for their parents. If they lost their son, that sucks. But you're shitty people. You are shitty people. Look at everything that you've done. Like, to hide the fact of, I really think that they knew more than what they knew when their son came back, and their son just goes and ups and disappears, and no big deal. I can't with these people. Like, I don't feel like they cooperated on purpose with the police to help either Brian get away, or maybe that was their initial thing, is try to help Brian get away. And maybe he messed up. Maybe he messed up and it's like, thought his skills were a little more better than what they were. And then he goes out into the wilderness, and hey, guess what? Harsh reality. God comes down with some rain on your ass and be like, nope, gonna take you out, man. Gonna take you out. Because, like, maybe that's what they did. Maybe they created a diversion. And I really feel like that. I feel like they created some kind of diversion so that freaking Brian could slip on out. Just get on out. So do I feel pity and sympathy for the family, for their family? No, I don't. And I know some people feel pity and sympathy for the sister, but my honest opinion is I think she was trying to cover her ass. I think after the whole world's coming down on you and everybody's crashing, or initially you get that, and then she's like, oh well, my parents have now exiled me and they're not talking to me and they're not saying anything, probably because they don't want to have you as an accessory or whatever to hide Brian. They don't want you to do anything like that. So if you can deny any accountability and they're not talking to you and they don't say anything, I don't know, this is just the way my mind's working, and maybe other people's are thinking the same thing, but I really think that's it. Kind of all goes in line. They get quiet, they get a lawyer. That's just a shitty thing to do. That's a shitty thing to do, especially for someone whose parents, their parents, they should know. What if it was Brian, or what if it was Cassie, or whatever her name was, the daughter? What if it was the daughter? What if it was your kids that were missing? And reverse that role. What if Gabby came back, clammed up? She came back with the van. Freaking Brian's nowhere to be found, and here you are sitting left with your freaking stuff in your hand. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, where the hell is my kid? Where's my kid? Like, you come back and then you clam up, you shut up, and you go quiet, and nobody says a damn word, and nobody can even give us the courtesy to say, hey, something happened, I got mad, I snapped a freaking kill, or anything. Hey, we left her here or there. And I said this from the very beginning, before we even really knew and things started coming into play. I'm like, regardless, Brian was a shitty person, because even if he didn't kill her, and he left her wherever that he left her, he's still a shitty person, because he did what? He's still a shitty person, because if he knew where she was, or he last left her, and he clammed up and he didn't say anything, even if he didn't kill her, that's still a crappy thing to do as a person. Crappy thing to do as a person. So anyway, I went on my tangent, I went on my rant. We'll go back onto the live feed, but that's what I wanted to share real quick. So let's get back into it. We're far behind now. How far away are we? Stop. Play. See, like, they're setting up. Woof. They're doing the setup. That's coming up, huh? Oh, snap. 4:30 Eastern time. That means it's in 10 minutes. Are you guys ready? Oh, I can't wait to hear this. This is going to be crazy. I'll be right back, guys. I got to get something to drink, but let's get ready. We're going to watch it from here. Let's get ready to rock and roll.
WFLA Now will begin momentarily.
Go take a little mama, okay? Let me kiss you. Love you. Sweetheart. All right. It's coming up very shortly. All right, sorry, guys. So let's take a vote. Everybody in chat. Whoever thinks that it's Brian's body, put a thumbs up in the chat. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you think it's Brian. What's up, the glare? Everyone is live covering this. Yeah, I bet the glare.
Live on WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Here's JD
Yeah,
Buno.
I think so too. That's my thought.
Moments away from answers. The FBI calling a press conference after partial human remains reportedly found here at the Carlton Reserve in an area previously underwater and near a backpack that
You don't think so?
reportedly had items
Cocoa
in it
Puffs?
that might have belonged to Brian Laundrie. We're about to find out from the FBI themselves what has transpired here today.
I think it is.
Hey there, everybody. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. We are completely honed in here on the makeshift podium that has been set up at Mekcee, right outside where so many different law enforcement agencies have gathered for the discovery, according to NBC News and others that have been reporting this now, the discovery of partial human remains, or what appears to be partial human remains, at Mekcee. That is the area where the silver Ford Mustang convertible of Brian Laundrie was discovered in September. The citation that was put on that vehicle that was right here on Reisterstown Road in our neck of the woods here in the Tampa Bay area in rural Sarasota County. Let's go here.
El, hey,
full
you're not
screen,
sure either?
And let's just kind of put up the audio a little bit here and we'll listen in. Just some chattering here in the background, Walt. Being joined here on WFLA Now by Walt, WFLA 800 Side Senior Investigator Walt Buteau. And Walt, the entire world's going to be watching this press conference, especially those who have been honed into this story from day one and have not stopped watching and getting updates from us on WFLA and other media outlets as well.
Here's what we know from the FBI. 2 hours ago, would have been 2:26. Items of interest. This is from the FBI tweet. Items of interest were located at the Carlton Reserve this morning in connection with the search for Brian Laundrie. Important timeline there. Found this morning around the time, perhaps, that the Laundries were there, according to their attorney, Stephen Bertolino. An FBI evidence response team is processing the scene. That was, again, that happened early afternoon. We showed you video of that. And then just a short time ago, 35 minutes ago, media alert, FBI Tampa will brief the media. Now, keep in mind, it's FBI Denver that has led this investigation. And these tweets, by the way, are coming from FBI Denver, but FBI Tampa will brief the media at 4:30 concerning
Juju, I think it's about 20,000, somewhere around there.
At the entrance of Mekcee Creek Environmental Park there in Northport, Florida. So that's what we know, and we expect to know more at 4:30. We also know that backpack, we believe, according to NBC, was found near those human remains. We do not know what the remains, how much, the amount of these remains.
No, thank you guys for staying with me. I know you guys could be anywhere else, but I appreciate you being here with me. So thank you guys for watching this live coverage with me.
Sources that are senior law enforcement officials informing to members of the media that partial human remains, or what appears to be partial human remains, were found in an area that was previously underwater. And that is a huge component here to the
Axeman, not unless somebody can identify him. If somebody can identify Brian, then they'll eventually do the DNA test and stuff.
This area was. I mean, we're talking in some areas knee deep, waist deep in water. And
moccasins,
yes, Heather, it's about to happen.
Copperheads and alligators, all that stuff.
A tremendous amount of wildlife here at the reserve. It's not all that visible, but we've gators.
Thank you, Tony.
You'll
Appreciate
find
you.
Deer. You'll find snakes. You'll find coyotes, panthers. A lot of different wildlife here.
Thank you, Kay Atkins.
Carlton Reserve, Mekcee, the very rural, vast area of Sarasota County. But we'll go back here live, full screen.
Thanks, Stacy.
Here's how this is going to work. The time now, 4:28 Eastern. We don't know how if the FBI is going to be on time here, but of course we're staying here with you live on WFLA now. We're going to wait for the FBI to step up to the podium here, and immediately after the press conference is over, Walt and I are here with you live to break down what we have learned. We're going to take your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt questions, because we're going to learn a good amount here, or at least we can only hope that we're going to be provided with some answers, Walt, and there's going to be tons of questions that are going to get asked in the aftermath of this press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Will they answer any of the questions? We don't know. There was somebody, I'm sure they will start. The FBI would tend to release a statement and then walk on. And keep in mind, again, this is the FBI office out of Tampa, not the lead FBI office out of Denver, which obviously would be the closest office to where the body was found in Wyoming 50 days ago. The body was found.
Thanks, Tunes
on
Music.
the 19th. So it's been about 40 days, but it was about 50 days ago when, according to various documents, we can narrow down that Gabby Petito was allegedly killed. The victim of homicide, according to the FBI, the victim of strangulation, according to the medical examiner.
Hey, Crystal.
Live across all of our platforms
Hey,
here
Sophia.
on WFLA now, and we'll again break down.
We're waiting for the press conference, everybody. They're about to. FBI is going to hold a press conference to go over probably the remains that they found.
We're going to find out here alongside the rest of the world what has transpired today, what discovery has been made. And even though we're going to find out more, we are not going to find out everything, Walt, that the FBI knows. They're going to keep some information, perhaps most information, close to the vest. But we're going to call this press conference here for a very specific reason, and we're about to find out what that reason is.
And, keep in mind, they're going to keep information close to the vest, but it is very possible that they do not know as much as we might think they know. This is not a television show. This is real life. But perhaps the remains were discovered this morning. It's now been only 5 hours since they've had this remains. So what do they know? They may not know a whole lot. They may be telling us very basic information because that is all they have. Obviously, no forensic study on these remains. We do know when Gabby Petito's remains were found, it was, I believe, another day or so. That was on the 19th that the news conference was held.
Baby G Libra, thank you.
Found, and they identified them as Gabby Petito.
Appreciate you.
But we did not find out the manner of death until, I believe, a day or so later. So patience with the investigators at this point. And the big question is,
I thought about that, about
case?
the parents planting that,
and do we
but
now have a closed
human
case
remains, like,
where we have a homicide, but
I don't know.
no live defendant to prosecute?
And let's begin right there. That is the big question. The partial.
Isn't it sad to say this is like for true crime people? This is almost like watching the Super Bowl.
Is that Brian Laundrie?
Is that an unfair comparison that for true crime people like us, like this is like a Super Bowl for us? We're like, is it him? Tell us, is it him?
Immediately after the press conference.
Here it is. Let's go, guys.
Good afternoon, Josh Taylor with the Northport Police Department. Thank you for your continued diligence on this story, and thanks for your patience. As you know, the Northport Police Department has worked collaboratively with the FBI throughout this investigation. So Special Agent Michael McPherson is going to make a prepared statement. There's not going to be any questions today, but hopefully it answers some of it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael McPherson. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Tampa Division. As you're aware, the FBI and the Northport Police Department and our state and local law enforcement partners have been searching the area of the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items, such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently have been underwater. Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area. It's likely the team will be on scene for several days. I know you have a lot of questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. We are working diligently to get those answers for you. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of the Northport Police Department, along with our partners from the state and local agencies. Complex investigations such as this cannot be accomplished by one agency alone, but there's just too many agencies to name them all here today. Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity for the safety of the public and to protect the integrity of our work. We have no additional comment related to today's activities. Our FBI Denver office is the lead investigative agency, and all future inquiries should be directed to them. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public and continue to ask for your assistance in bringing this investigation to close.
To close.
Thank you.
That's insinuating.
Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice for Gabby!
That was quick.
Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice for Gabby!
There's Molly. What's up, Molly?
Breaking news on WFLA now. Here's JB Buno.
All right, well,
You hear the calls. Justice for Gabby. After the FBI announces information that we have been receiving over the last several hours. Partial human remains discovered here today at the Carlton Reserve near a backpack and a notebook. A backpack and a notebook that might belong to Brian Laundrie. A scene that is now going to take several.
okay. So I'm going to stop it, guys. I'm pretty confident that it's him. They didn't say, but they're talking about bringing this to a closure or bringing this to an end. If I was a betting man, my bet would be, and I was telling this to my wife upstairs too, they are not going to release, even if they confirmed with probably the parents that it looks like Brian, they're probably not going to confirm unless they have 100% solid evidence to do that. But it almost every way that they were, saying things was insinuating that it must be Brian. I'm going with that, guys. I'm going with that. It's Brian. It's a bummer that we'll have to wait to hear that. They said it's going to be an ongoing investigation for days, but you know the kind of heat that they would receive if they did not 100% confirm that it was Brian. So that was kind of their little nonchalant way of coming around and saying, hey, found Brian's belongings, found some human remains. It's going to be an ongoing investigation so we can close out this. Why? Look at the wording that he said about closing out the case. So that to me would insinuate that they believe it to be Brian and they need confirmation 100% so that they can put this baby to bed, so they can put this to rest. So just the way that he worded it, I think that and FBI is smart. They're smart. They're not dumb people always. Sometimes. I don't know. I don't want to say it. Not always. But anyway, they have to word things in a way that's, obviously is one, not going to hinder their investigation. Two, like they word it certain ways on purpose. And I believe that to be true is what they did right now is I believe they gave you a nice little elbow. Hey, when we close out this investigation, give us a couple of days to finish this out, and then we can put this to bed. So I'm going to go with it, guys. I think that's it. It's crazy how both of our Spiritbox sessions for both Gabby and now for Brian, I'm feeling pretty confident that Brian is no longer with us. That it said he's dead. I really think that that's the case. Hopefully I'll be able to cover this as it comes up, and hopefully we'll be able to jump on the ball and keep this coverage, guys. I want to thank you so much for staying with us while we got things trickling in, coming in. So I'm thankful that you guys chose here to be, of all places you could have been watching. So I really do appreciate you guys. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Me and my team will be keeping up tabs to see if we hear anything, and we'll be trying to dig and see what we come up with. But as for now, guys, I guess we're in the waiting game again. So here we are again, my friends. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for all you guys do, and we will see you very soon. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I'll see you guys on the next investigation.